It takes up to 450 degrees. It's excellent for cookies and meatballs because everything rolls right off. And there's nothing like cooking a meatball. Going through all this, overcooking it, it sticks to the bottom of the pan, and you go to flip it, and you lose half your meatball. It really is frustrating. So we could put our meatballs on here, and I'm going to also fry 2 meatballs. That's really excellent. It makes the house smell really good. It doesn't look that appealing, but let me tell you that if you're Italian, you'll be over grandma's shoulder or your wife's shoulder or mommy's shoulder saying, trying to steal a meatball right out of the pan and putting it in a bowl, and you'll be getting hit with the spatula, the wooden spoon, because it smells so good. Alright, so now we're going to roll our meatballs. I'm going to fry about 2, and then we're going to lay these out, and you're going to bake them in the oven, and it's going to get nice and golden brown around that. And then we'll put them in the sauce. Okay, poof! Rolled meatballs. Nice size, even, consistent, and you can even see the tomato chunks from the chunky tomato sauce that I put in there, and you can see the raisins. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake some of these. If you don't have the time, or you don't have enough olive oil, or whatever the problem is, my kids are coming home, and sometimes, you know, I cheat. I don't do like grandma because I also work out of the house. You're going to put some virgin olive oil on the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to cook a couple because I don't really have time to fuss with them. So I'll cook about 4. Let me get one that's the same size so they cook evenly. And these I'm going to bake. Now sometimes when you cook them, you burn them, and if you make the outside too crispy, then the sauce will not be able to penetrate the meat and make it into gravy. Okay? If you cook them in the oven, you could get a nice even golden brown. You have to flip them. You don't need oil, so you're saving calories right there. So if you're trying to watch your calories and your cholesterol, this is the better way to go. So we're going to put this in the oven, and then I'm going to fry those meatballs on a medium heat, and I'm going to watch them, and maybe you could smell the aroma from the camera. Alright, so here we are at the stove, and I'm starting off at high until I hear the oil start to bubble, and then I'll lower it down to like a medium. I got the sauce cooking. That's stewing about 4 or 5 medium. See, now it's not really, it's still a chunky sauce. It's not too watery, but it's hot. Okay, so now also I had some leftover steak from yesterday, so I kind of took all the junk off, all the fat strips and stuff. Now I could do 2 things. If you really want gravy, I could put this meat in there after, you know, dump the olive oil out and put water, and I could fry some of this meat, and then I will have a beef stock, and then I could pour that right into the sauce. That would make it delicious too. So I gotta wait for that to cook. I got my meatballs in the oven on the silicone and the stone, so that should cook. I guess I gotta put the timer on for about 10 minutes until the oven gets hot. And then I got to roll them a little bit. You just want them like golden brown. You want the sauce to be able to penetrate them while they're marinating, while they're cooking. And this makes an excellent sauce. Mwah, deliciosa. Now, I love to cook. I don't like to cook for massive amounts of people, and I don't want to spend all my time in the kitchen because I like to cook. I cook well. I'll end up being as fat as a house because I love to eat. See, now it's starting to boil. So we don't want it to sputter too much, so we're going to turn this down, and we'll see. These are Teflon pans. They're great. If you see that, see the golden? You want golden. You don't want too brown, because then your meatballs will be too tough. And unless they have some sides open, the sauce is not going to penetrate that. Okay? So, and you don't want to spatter oil all over everything. If you notice, everything's clean now. I'm a clean cook. Everything's put away. So when I get done cooking, most people that come over my house think I catered it because there's not one pot or piece of silverware that needs to be done. And that's how I like it. When I sit down, I want to have peace of mind, and I want to look back at a dirty sink and go, oh, geez, you know, when you're full and you don't feel like doing anything when you eat good. I don't want to look at that. And I don't have anybody to say go clean with. It's me. I'm it. So, sometimes you can kind of tilt them on the sides for those side pieces Now I know Oprah, there's somebody in where she lives in California that makes excellent meatballs, and she loved them so much she was eating one a day on one of her diets. And she had the girl on the show showing her recipe because she loved these meatballs, and one of the things she did was fry them. But this adds calories, and it, you know, see that? That's nice. Now right there, if you want, you could stop and you could put it in. If you really want to cheat and you really press for time, God forbid, I know I'm going to get like the sign of the cross with some of you paisanos. If you don't have time to bake and you don't have time to fry it, you can roll it and put it in the sauce, okay? It will still marinate. The meat won't fall apart if you roll them tight. If you mix your ingredients properly and you roll them really tight, they will not fall apart in your sauce, turning into gravy. And you can do that and they will be delicious, and nobody will really know the total difference. Because I have a lot of people that have a mindset, it's got to be this way, and then I'll see that's getting a little bit too much here. So we don't want to do that. And you can't really walk away. But now I'm going to fry these because I know my cameraman husband over there, we're going to mush them up in a plate, and we're going to eat them just like this with no sauce on them. Because the sauce is not gravy yet. It doesn't have all the meat in it. So that's good. We're going to turn the flame down. We're going to let it cook. Now really, if you want to eat them right away, what's safer, you want to make a little bit of meatball hamburger, a meatball patty. This way he can eat them right now because he's smelling them and I'm smelling it. So if you want to eat them right now and put them in a dish, because sometimes people don't want to wait until the sauce marinates and you want to give them a little appetizer, you give them a little meatball appetizer. Holds them over a little bit because they're smelling it in the house. The longer you cook the sauce, the better. So we're going to eat this for lunch. Delicious. And then I'll show you, when they get golden, I'll show you. And if I want, you know what, I'm going to put this meat right in here. Now, that's going to begin to marinate, and all the juices from that steak pizzola is going to go into the sauce. It will become gravy. Voila. Okay.
All right, now I get to eat and enjoy these great meatballs with the raisins in them. Mmm.
That's not in the sauce though, right?
No, it's not in the sauce yet. These were just fried.
This is meatball appetizers.
This will hold me over till she finishes the gravy and she makes the pasta, and we can wait till dinner time because it's only about 3 o'clock, so we got a couple hours. That is good.
Se avanza.
Yummy.
Okay, here's the meatballs that were baked. I baked them about 300 degrees, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. But if you could see, even though it's not like in the pan with the oil, there's a little coating, a little hard coating. You don't want to make it too hard. I want it to be raw in the inside because I want it to be able to absorb this sauce and marinate, and then it makes it really delicious. If it's too hard, it will not penetrate. So now we're going to put them into the sauce. And another reason why we call it gravy is because in years gone by, when they had not so great refrigeration, you knew that your meat was cooked in the tomatoes when all of the juices rose to the top and around the edges. You could see the beef stock, the chicken raised to the top. And then you knew that it was gravy. And then it was time to eat. And you could see it. You could see it when you're cooking this for about 2 hours. You'll see all the meat. And I use 90% hamburger meat. Sometimes you know, the fat to meat ratio. So then you mix that up. See, now my meatballs won't fall apart because I baked them and they have that little shell on it. They won't fall apart. You have to be very delicate with it when you put them in raw. Now see this? Beautiful. Just take this silicone, throw it in the sink. Now, Glad wrap, your extra beef broth you can use for your meats. This is fantastic. This present. I'm going to save it was a big onion, so I didn't want to put too much. Like I said, I have kids. I want them to eat the meatballs. But thank you and for coming to Katrina Marie's Cucina. And I really did this because now my husband doesn't have an excuse to say, I don't know how to make meatballs and sauce, and plus it will be something that I could pass on to my kids. Put it on a DVD and let them see how Mama made her sauce and her meatballs directly from me. And my husband has always called. I know I don't look like the traditional Mama, but he's always called me Mama, and it drives his friends crazy. But he's always called me Mama, and I'm starting to grow into Mama. But so here you go, sauce, meatballs, Mama Katrina. He even named his boat Mama Mia for me and my daughter. So I'm the Mama of the Mama Mia, and I'm the Mama of the cucina. Have a great day in abundanza. Enjoy your meal.